Okay, fifth graders, we are on page 159 and we are learning about conserving water, saving water. So we're on question 2. If you fill the bathtub all the way, it takes about 576 cups of water. How many gallons is that? Well, please remember that 1 gallon is equal to 16 cups. We're going to try to figure out how many gallons are in 576 cups. So if you remember the 16, an easy way to figure this total out is we can use division. So what I can do is I can divide 576 by 16, and the quotient, or the answer in division, will tell me how many gallons there are altogether. So let's go ahead and set up our long division problem, figure out how many gallons this is. So what I'm going to do first is remember, make the problem smaller. So what you should ask yourself is, how many times does 16 fit into 5? Well, 16 doesn't fit into 5, so I'm going to make my problem a little bit bigger. How many times does 16 fit into 57? So what I can do is I can go back to my ratio table and to figure that out, or I could use a calculator. So I know that in my ratio table that we did in the previous page, 16 times 2 was 32, and 16 times 4 was 64. So 4 is too much, 2 is too little. So our first divisor is going to be 3. So I'm going to use a 3 up here. Put the 3 at the top. Now I'm going to multiply 3 times 16, which equals 48. You can use a calculator to help you solve these long division problems as you solve the steps. Then I'm going to take away 57, take away 48. It's going to equal 9. Bring down the 6. Now I have 96. So now I'm going to figure out, well, how many times does 16 fit into 96? So I'm trying to get that quotient up there. So if I look back at my problem, I can figure out that I can use a calculator. I know that 16 times 5 is 80, and that was in our ratio table. So I know that 16 times 10 is 160. So the only number that works would be 9. Oh, sorry, not 9, 6. It would be 6. So 6 times 16 is actually going to equal 96. And now I can subtract. I have no leftovers, so that I know this is my answer in division. I know that in 576 cups of water, we would make a total of 36 gallons. That is a lot of water that you need to use to take just one bath. So just imagine this, 36 jugs of water to take one bath. Okay, let's go on to A. Now we're on problem A. If you fill the bathtub just enough to wash yourself, it takes about 144 cups of water. How many gallons is that? Well, what we're going to do is we're going to use long division again, but I'm going to show you our ratio table that we did in the previous page to help you think about the gallons and the cups. So here's the ratio table that we did on the other page, and if you look, you can use this to help you figure out those long division problems. So we know that as we're getting to 400, our highest that we went to 400, that was 25 gallons. 10 gallons is 160, and then we have 80 cups to make 5 gallons, and so forth. So you can use this ratio table to help you predict the answer. Okay, so now I'm going to divide 144 by 16 because I'm trying to figure out the gallons. Remember, 1 gallon has 16 cups. So I'm going to go ahead and set up the problem. Here we have 144 divided by 16. Our answer, or our quotient, will be the number of gallons. So what I'm going to do first with the long division is I'm going to make the problem smaller. So I always start with my finger, and I'm always going to start with 1. Does 16 fit into 1? No. Go on to the next digit. Does 16 fit into 14? No, again, it's too small. So now I'm going to move on to 144. How many times can you multiply 16 to get close to 144, but not over? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back to my ratio table to help me figure out what that number should be. So if I look at my ratio table, I can see that I have 80 cups and I have 160 cups. So I know that my quotient is going to be between 5 and 10. I can see that this is 160, so 10 is actually going to be too much. So I have a feeling that it's actually going to be 9. If I multiply 16 by 9, that should be my quotient. I can go ahead and use a calculator to figure this out. So I'm trying to figure out 144 divided by 16. I think that it's 9. 9 is probably the closest that I can get. 10 is too much because if I look at my ratio table, if I multiply 10 by 16, I get 160, and that is over 144. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to multiply 16 by 9, and I got 144. I am exactly correct. So we know that this is going to be 9. So in long division, the 9 is going to go all the way in the ones place of the dividend. So this is 9 times 16 is 144. Subtract. I have no remainders. So now I have my answer. 144 cups equals 9 gallons. That's actually saving a lot of water. So remember, if you fill the bathtub all the way up, you end up using 36 gallons of fresh water. If you just fill the bathtub just enough to wash yourself, you end up using 9 gallons. That is saving a significant amount of fresh water. B. If you take a bath 3 times a week and use the second method described above, how many gallons of water can you save in a week? How many gallons of water can you save in a month? Well, this is a great question. This is like the question that we did in the previous problem. We're trying to just figure out how many gallons we can save in a week first, and then how many gallons of water that we can save in a month. So let's go ahead and start with, if we take a bath 3 times a week and use the second method above, how many gallons of water would we save in that week? Well, let's first look at how many gallons we're going to save in a day. So I'm going to write 1 day. So if I use the water saving method above, I use 9 gallons. If I fill the bathtub all the way up, I use 36 gallons. So in 1 day, if I chose to take a bath, I'm going to find the difference in how many gallons I save. So 36 take away 9 is going to be 27. So in 1 day, I would save 27 gallons of water. So now let's look at if I took a bath 3 times in a week. So if I took a bath using this method 3 times, I have to figure out how much water I'm going to use. So for 3 days, how much water would I save for 3 days? Well, I know 1 day is 27, so I'm going to multiply 27 times 3. Seven times 3 is 21. 3 times 2 is 6. 7, 8. I'm going to save 81 gallons in 3 days. So I figured out 3 times a week. And so in a week, I would save 81 gallons. I would save 81 gallons for 1 week if I took a bath 3 times a week. So now the next question is, how many gallons of water can we save in a month? So let's think about how many weeks are in a month. We know that for 1 month, there are 4 weeks. If I save 81 gallons for 1 week, how much would I save for 1 month? Well, there are 4 weeks, so I'm going to multiply 81 times 4 to figure out how many gallons I would save in a month. I'm going to go ahead and use the standard algorithm. So we have 81 times 4. 8 times 4 is 32. Wow. In a month, you would save 324 gallons if you use the water saving method described in A. This is a lot of water that you could possibly save. Okay, let's go ahead and we're going to move on to the next page, which is 160.